Hey guys, we're going to show you today how to tap some maple trees and take the sap and boil it down into syrup. So start to finish, we'll go from sap to syrup. Now an important thing you got to keep in mind when we're tapping trees is the time of year and the temperature. A lot of times you'll tap the trees in early spring. The temperature needs to be getting below freezing at night and above freezing, or above 40 degrees really during the day. That puts it in a cycle where the trees are storing the sap and then they run the sap, and going back and forth between the below freezing and above 40 is when you actually get that sap running. And so when you tap the tree, those are the times when you actually collect that sap that's being transferred through the tree. Okay, so now you got your buckets drilled and you're ready to hang them on the trees. So now you got to locate your sugar maple trees. A lot of times it's easier to do that in the spring before you actually lose the leaves, so you can actually look at the leaves and verify that it is indeed a maple. But in case you run behind and you don't have a chance to go out and mark all your trees beforehand, you can tell by the bark on the sugar maples. They have a distinct, really thick bark that starts curling and peeling away from the tree. You can see here and here, and especially over here where this thick bark starts peeling away from the tree. That's really distinctive of a sugar maple. Another thing you'll find on sugar maples a lot of times is this black that runs up the side of the tree along the base. A lot of times you'll have this black and the peeling bark, and that'll be a good sign that you have a sugar maple. Okay, so another thing you gotta keep in mind when you're looking for a location to put your buckets is the actual location on the tree where you're gonna drill your hole. What you're doing when you drill that hole is you're going to be cutting through the veins that the sap runs through in the sugar maple. And when you cut through there, you're basically cutting off the flow in that one area. And everything that comes flowing through there is now going to come into your hole, and it's going to flow into your bucket. So the optimum place to place your tap is right in those veins. Well, the biggest veins usually come right over the large trunk of the tree, where you can see down here where this part of the trunk extends out past the normal part. There's another one over here that sticks out. Usually you'll have larger veins in there, and if you actually drill your hole directly above one of those, you'll typically end up with larger veins in there, and you can actually get more sap production from drilling right there. Now my bucket's offset a little bit because right here is where I drilled last year, directly over here, and to keep from killing the tree in this one area, I need to make sure I go at least 6 inches, maybe 8 inches over to one side of it the following year, so I don't end up messing the tree up. That'll give the tree a chance to heal in this one area. So make sure that in latter years you end up coming over to the side at least 6 to 8 inches, one side or the other, so it'll give that one spot a chance to heal. Okay, so once you got your tree picked out, then go ahead and drill your hole. Remember when you're drilling your hole that you're going to want to angle it down a little bit so that as it collects in that hole, it's going to drip out into your bucket. So we're going to go ahead and tap this tree right here. You're also going to want to remember when you're drilling it, you don't want to go too deep. So you only want to go a few inches in. You go too deep, you're getting into the risk of damaging the tree again. So we just want to tap the outside, get some of that sap that the tree doesn't need, and we'll drain some of that off and the tree will be able to replenish it. But if you take too much sap from it, then you can end up damaging the tree. Okay, so we've got our 1/2 inch aluminum tubing. We've got it cut down into several short pieces that are several inches long. We got our hole. We're going to go ahead and insert these into our hole and tap them up in there. We don't want to go too far, because if you end up going too far, you end up blocking that entire hole to where no sap can come out. So you want it just far enough to get the spile to stay in there snugly. And then we're going to take this hole on our bucket. We're going to slide it on here, and then we can secure the hand.
Ready?
So we've got our spile on the tree. We'll go ahead and slide our bucket up on it. And then we will get a couple screws, and we can screw it right here to hold this on, put our lid on, and wait for it to warm up, and we'll get some sap flowing.